I rear-ended another car on the highway with my wife, a terrible accident. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day we were supposed to register our marriage. Under everyone's watchful eyes, she walked into the registry office, holding the hand of my nemesis. When she came out, she flashed their bright red marriage certificate in my face. "Sincere Clark, I've had enough of you. Don't blame me. If you have to blame someone, blame yourself for being such a good-for-nothing." I remained silent, letting them leave together to fly abroad, because I knew in her previous life she deeply regretted being with me. Given a second chance, I respected her decision. 10 years later, she returned, successful and famous, with her husband and child in tow, making a grand entrance back into the country. At the class reunion, she first listed off the international awards her son had won, then showed off the various designer bags her husband had bought her. Finally, she looked at me with disdain. 10 years and you're still such a no-hoper. The receptionist at my company is single. Want me to set you up? I ignored her. Until my daughter, the world champion, and my wife, the daughter of River City's former richest man, came to pick me up. Only then did her face drain of color, her eyes turning bloodshot as she questioned me. "Didn't you say you wouldn't marry anyone but me? Who are these two women?" I had just acquired a hotel for my wife as an anniversary gift when I got a call from my old classmate, Marcus Miller. "Sincere, everyone's here, where are you?" Only then did I remember the class reunion. Luckily, the reunion was being held right here at the Grand Royal Hotel I just bought, in the Royal Suite, just an elevator ride down. By the way, what are you wearing? If it's not designer, maybe grit your teeth and buy something from the luxury shop next door. Serafina Bellwether is back, you know. She came back with your arch-rival, Julian Vance. Julian Vance was my nemesis back in university, and the husband Serafina chose in this life. Because I was handsome and talented, I consistently overshadowed him, the class president. Plus, Serafina, the girl he liked, was completely devoted to me back then. To say he hated my guts would be an understatement. After I was reborn and Serafina dumped me to marry him, he flaunted it relentlessly on his social media feed. Even after moving abroad, he often sent me provocative photos of the two of them. I glanced down at the sweater my wife had knitted for me, the inexpensive briefcase my daughter had given me, and smiled as I declined Marcus's well-meaning offer. "Don't be stupid, Sincere. Those two are the most successful among all our classmates now. Don't say I didn't warn you when they laugh at you." Although I didn't see the need to change, I was warmed by my old classmates' kindness. During the short elevator ride down, Marcus filled me in on their situation. Apparently, not long after going abroad, they got their green cards. With Julian's help, Serafina earned her PhD and is now a top lecturer at a renowned institution overseas. Her annual salary is more than what ordinary people make in several years. Julian himself came from a well-off family. Using his family connections and capital, he started a company. Ostensibly, they were back this time to let their son see his grandparents and catch up with old classmates. But he'd actually announced the reunion in various group chats well in advance. In the banquet hall, Julian sat at the head seat, arm around Serafina's shoulder, raising his glass, basking in the envious gazes of the crowd. Just as expected of our class president establishing yourself abroad so quickly in just a few years. I hear major companies are lining up to partner with you. You're truly the pride of River University. Isn't that the truth? I always knew the class president was 1 in a million. Look at him now. Who here is as successful? Beauty and the hero. After all these years, our campus belle still looks stunning, no different from a 20-year-old girl. A perfect match. Their son is bound to be a big shot someday too. Julian and Serafina soaked up the flattery, their smiles never fading. Suddenly, someone mentioned me. "How's Sincere Clark doing? He almost married the campus belle back then, didn't he?" At this, Serafina's expression flickered unnaturally, and Julian's face turned cold. I walked into the suite, my expression calm. The already awkward atmosphere instantly dropped to freezing point. All eyes focused on me. After confirming I was dressed plainly, with no expensive accessories, Julian was the first to scoff. Sincere, dressing shabbily when you're slaving away at work is one thing, but this is a class reunion. What kind of dead-end job do you have? I replied calmly. I don't have fixed employment. When my father-in-law's hotel chain needs inspecting, I'm an auditor. When my wife's chain of beauty salons needs its books checked, I'm an accountant. At my own company, I'm the president. Other miscellaneous businesses are delegated to my secretary and managers, though I conduct regular checks. I'd protested countless times, feeling my father-in-law and wife should handle their own affairs. But my father-in-law would playfully shirk responsibility, saying he was getting old, trusted me, and it would all be mine eventually anyway, so I might as well get familiar with it now. And I couldn't bear to see my wife staying up late auditing accounts. In the end, all the work still landed on me. Julian had a look of comprehension. So bottom line, you're just a bum, right? His contemptuous tone sparked laughter from everyone else. No way, Sincere, you were such a big shot in university. How did you end up like this? No wonder you never come to reunions. If it were me, I wouldn't show my face either. 10 years and still achieved nothing. Don't tell people you went to River University when you leave. Arriving so late, did you have to take the subway? Laughing and mocking, they pushed me towards a seat near the entrance, meant for serving staff, directly facing Julian and Serafina at the head table. I paid no mind to the ridicule, only wanting this to end quickly so I could go home to my wife and daughter. But in Serafina's eyes, my indifference registered as a pathetic, forced smile. Her gaze darkened, and she frowned. Sincere, it's been years. How are you still such a hopeless case? Do you have a car, a house? How much savings? You're not young anymore. Who would marry you like this? I thought my leaving might have been a wake-up call for you, but now I see you're truly beyond saving. Before I could speak, Julian pretended to be concerned, wrapping his arm around Serafina. Honey, it's not worth getting upset over someone like him. Turning to me, he said, Look, since we're old classmates, here's 100,000. Go buy yourself a basic sedan to get around. Use the rest to get yourself some decent clothes. It's pathetic for a man to dress so shabbily. You've got the face of a pretty boy. Clean yourself up, maybe you can find a rich older woman, and you'll be set for life. He wrote out a check and placed it in front of me. His every look and gesture oozed smugness and condescending charity. Of course, I didn't take it. I just smiled and said, No need for the check. The minimum charge for the royal suite is 100,000. You can just cover the bill later. Treat everyone to this meal. I was about to call the manager here to come up and process the payment. Suddenly, Serafina slapped the check onto my chest. Stop trying to look good when you can't afford it. 100,000 could save you years of struggle. Pride won't feed you. Julian is willing to help you. That's your good fortune. Why are you being so difficult? I just bought a Western restaurant domestically, and it needs a manager. Clean yourself up and report for duty tomorrow. Her repeated jabs made it clear that today's reunion was merely a stage for certain people to show off. Since that was the case, there was no point in staying. My phone suddenly rang. The caller ID read wifey. A smile touched my lips. I prepared to step outside to take the call, but Serafina, spotting it, snatched the phone away. She demanded, somewhat agitated, What do you think you're doing? I was a bit stunned. My wife is calling me. Is there a problem? Serafina's hand trembled even more. She refused to believe it. How could someone like you possibly have a wife? Without waiting, she pressed the answer key herself. A polite female voice came through. Hello, this is the mobile promotions hotline. The special offer on your current phone plan has expired. Before the message finished, the room erupted in sharp, cruel laughter. That's hilarious, Sincere. Your wife is the mobile promotions hotline? We're all old classmates here. We can see what kind of state you're in with one glance. Why pretend? Exactly coming here just to embarrass yourself. If it were me, I'd rather be dead. It's a good thing Serafina didn't marry you back then, otherwise her whole life would have been ruined. That last sentence made me zone out for a moment. Through the raucous laughter, I looked at Serafina beside me, her lips curled upwards. She basked in the crowd's adulation, occasionally casting glances of disdain and pity my way, a profound sense of relief hidden in her eyes, as if she had finally vented some long-held resentment. But the story actually began with her, holding a bouquet of roses, declaring her feelings to me with vibrant confidence. "Sincere Clark, I like you, whether you like me or not." With just those words, I accompanied her from school uniforms to a wedding dress. She said boys who could cook were incredibly attractive, so I cut my fingers countless times learning to make her favorite dishes. She said husbands who spoiled their wives would get rich, so I repeatedly swallowed my pride, trying every conceivable way to make her happy. We both got jobs at the same major corporation, working 9 to 5 with stable incomes. Right after getting married, with help from family, we made a down payment on a house and bought a starter car. For the first 2 years, our life was as happy as the marriage we had imagined. But everything changed in the 3rd year after Julian Vance returned to the country. Julian came from a wealthy background, started a company abroad, drove a Rolls-Royce, and lived in a detached villa. When Julian learned we were living a modest, ordinary life, he didn't hesitate to make his move. Initially, she would refuse Julian's invitations and constantly push me to be more ambitious. "What's the point of this dead-end job? The salary is peanuts each year. It's not nearly enough. Julian graduated just 2 years ago and is already making millions a year. You were so much better than him in university. How could you fall so far behind? I chose you over him, remember? Please don't let me down. I loved Serafina, so I took all my savings and started a business. During that time, I was drowning in business dinners that led to stomach bleeding, working nights until dawn, and dealing with difficult partners. It wasn't until I was on my way to a client meeting and saw Julian kissing her, his arm around her waist, that I finally woke up. Ironically, my company was just starting to gain traction then. That day we sat on the sofa, a long silence between us, like a typical estranged couple. Serafina calmly admitted to the affair. "So what if your company is picking up? Julian can get me a green card immediately. Can you? Sincere, I regret marrying you." Turns out, life isn't just about romance, it's also about paying the bills. My eyes were red, but I still tried to salvage things. "Just give me a little more time. I'll give you everything you want." Serafina shook her head. "Do you know how precious a woman's time is? This is when I look my best, when it's best for me to have children, even when it's the best time for me to make money. Sincere, don't be so selfish. If you had pushed yourself harder earlier, maybe we wouldn't have ended up like this." Every word she spoke was filled with regret about being with me, but she was the one who pursued me first. Countless rebuttals rose to my lips, but I swallowed them back down. You can't hold on to someone who is determined to leave. As we were driving to the registry office for our divorce, a truck rear-ended us. We both died, and then we were reborn. Sincere, that wife of yours is less useful than a silicone doll. How about this? Since you want a wife so badly, the receptionist at my company is single. Want me to set you up? Serafina smirked contemptuously, her finger already swiping across my phone screen. I took my phone back, my tone sharp with annoyance. "I have nothing to do with you anymore. Isn't it crossing the line to keep touching my phone?" Serafina's face instantly flushed red. "Is it wrong for me to try and find you a partner? You ungrateful creature, you hopeless mess. I bet you'll remain like this for the rest of your life. Might as well die poor." The others, sensing an opportunity, started clamoring again. "Sincere, you don't appreciate kindness. Serafina is beautiful and kind-hearted, offering you money and a date. You should accept graciously instead of playing hard to get you fallen this low. Yet you still cling to your pride. Didn't you come to this reunion hoping to network for resources? No wonder poor people stay poor. Looking like that and still wanting to get married? You'd just be ruining someone's life." Serafina seemed genuinely angered by me, her eyes even reddening. "I know my leaving hit you hard back then, but you can't just give up on yourself like this. Sincere, it's all in the past. Take the money and start a new life. I remember you had some entrepreneurial talent. If you run into any difficulties, just tell Julian or me. There's nothing you can't overcome." Her apparent sincerity earned her a venomous glare from Julian directed at me. He deliberately tightened his grip on Serafina's waist, pulling her into his arms. "Sarah, darling, it's not worth getting upset over someone like this. How about this?" Julian continued, addressing me. 10,000 for every glass of liquor you drink. Drink as much as you want. Add that to the previous 100,000, it should be enough for you to find a wife." His words were met with cheers from the others. Wow, Mr. Vance is really looking out for his old classmate, calling him a lifesaver. Wouldn't be an exaggeration. 10 grand a glass, that's practically free money. "Sincere, what are you hesitating for? Go thank Mr. Vance." "Thank him?" I looked at the specially mixed 90 proof alcohol in the decanter on the table. 1 glass would burn your throat and stomach. 2 might make you spontaneously combust. You'd get sick even if you weren't already. I had absolutely no desire to stay any longer. You should keep the money for yourself. As I stood up, Julian pushed me back down. "The money's ready. Don't miss this opportunity." Serafina also urged me, frustrated. "You refused free money, now you refuse to drink for money. What exactly do you want?" "Sincere, if I didn't feel like I owed you something for what happened back then, I wouldn't care if you lived or died." I didn't understand why Serafina was still dwelling on the past life. Everything was long over. Serafina picked up a glass and handed it to me. "Go on, drink. I know you have a strong sense of pride. Drink it all, and I'll give you all the money, okay? Finish it, take the money, and start living properly. Stop idling around." I couldn't help but look at Serafina, unsure for a moment whether she genuinely wanted to see me humiliated or actually cared about my well-being. Beside her, Julian was grinding his back teeth in hatred. He sneered. "It's rare for Sarah to care so much about someone else. Anyone who can make Sincere drink a glass gets 10,000 too," the room erupted. "That's our Mr. Vance. Mr. Vance is so generous." They picked up their glasses, their eyes fixed on me like predators as they advanced. "Sincere, if you don't drink this, you're disrespecting your old classmates. Come on, drink up, finish this glass, and I'll get you a job as a security guard at my company. Are you drinking or not? Stop dithering like an old woman. No wonder you ended up like this." They crowded around, cursing. When I refused to drink, some shoved their glasses against my lips, trying to force the liquor down my throat. My patience finally snapped. I forcefully pushed everyone away. The liquor in their hands splashed onto the floor. Forcing someone to drink is illegal. Don't make me call the police. Keep this up and get out of my hotel. Julian heard this and burst out laughing as if he'd heard the world's funniest joke. "Are you crazy? It's more believable if you said you were a waiter here. It's just old classmates having a bit of fun. Why call the cops? I'll take responsibility if anything happens." Emboldened by his words, the others became agitated again. They started grabbing bottles from the liquor cabinet, wildly pouring drinks, creating a mess. Unable to tolerate it anymore, I punched Julian squarely in the face. Julian clutched his injured face, eyes wide. "You actually dared to hit me." I glanced at the information my secretary had just sent to my phone, then punched him again. "Yeah, I hit you. What are you going to do about it?" Everyone froze, stunned. The man who had been quiet moments ago had just landed 2 solid punches on Julian Vance. Serafina was the first to scream. "Sincere, are you out of your mind?" She cupped Julian's face with both hands, full of distress. "I thought you just lacked ambition, but I didn't realize you had violent tendencies too. Do you want to ruin your life completely? Get down on your knees and apologize to Julian right now, or I'll have you thrown in jail," the others chimed in indignantly. "Sincere, I didn't know you were not only poor but also violent. We were just joking around between classmates. Why take it so seriously? Even at this point, Serafina is willing to let you grovel and apologize. She's practically a living Saint Tisk. Nobody should associate with him anymore. People like him are doomed for life." Serafina stared at me coldly, her face etched with disappointment. I couldn't help but wonder. If she knew what Julian was really back in the country for, would her expression be even more spectacular? Just as the crowd was condemning me, there was a commotion outside. Julian seemed to remember something. He straightened his wrinkled collar, wincing as he touched his bruised face, and shot me a venomous look. "Sincere Clark, I'm not finished with you. The person arriving outside is the daughter of River City's richest man. Any spare change that slips through her fingers would be enough for you to live on for the rest of your life. Besides, her daughter just won the World Sports Championship. My son is her boyfriend, her future son-in-law. You're finished? My daughter has a boyfriend? How come I, her father, didn't know?" I froze slightly. My daughter had only recently mentioned a male classmate who kept bothering her. Julian smugly opened the suite door. Standing there was a group of bodyguards in black suits, tightly protecting a woman with an elegant appearance and exceptional charisma walking towards them. Following beside her was clearly a miniature version of her, instantly warming one's heart. Everyone became excited. This kind of entourage, only the richest man could afford something like this. Sincere. You should count your lucky stars. If it weren't for Mr. Vance and Serafina, you probably would never meet such important people in your entire life. It's a pity the richest man's son-in-law isn't here. I hear he dotes on his wife and is incredibly talented. I'd love to meet him. You've offended the richest man's in-laws. Unless you get on your knees and beg for forgiveness properly, your life is over." I ignored the crowd, simply watching my wife and daughter with a smile. As they reached the suite entrance, everyone swarmed around them fawningly. Julian bowed obsequiously. "Ms. Windsor, hello. I'm young Mr. Vance. We met briefly at the World Qualifiers. Do you remember?" My wife, Victoria Windsor, smiled and nodded at him. "Long time no see." A simple reply, yet Julian was practically jumping with joy. Serafina also bent down to greet my daughter, Jasmine Clark. "Jasmine, dear, I'm Leo's mother. Come play with Leo sometime. Auntie will make you delicious food." Hearing Leo Vance's name, my daughter frowned with distaste, but her good upbringing prevented her from being rude. She silently brushed past Serafina's clothes, raised her arms, and called out to me, "Daddy," in front of everyone. I crouched down and hugged my daughter. "Did you miss Daddy?" My daughter nodded vigorously. So much I skipped the celebration banquet and came straight back. "Look, Daddy, this is the gold medal I won." She took the gold medal from around her neck to show me, gleaming brightly. Anyone would know the immense honor it represented. "Mommy, Daddy, isn't your wedding anniversary coming up? Can I give you this gold medal as your anniversary gift?" Victoria walked over, smiling gently, and took my arm. "Of course, sweetie. Daddy and Mommy love this gift very much." Witnessing this warm, happy scene, everyone's jaws dropped. Julian stammered, "Miss Windsor, Sincere Clark is your husband?" Victoria tilted her head and kissed my cheek. "Yes, we've been married for 8 years. Please don't blame Sincere, everyone. My status is rather special. As an apology, today's meal is on us." Julian had completely lost his earlier arrogance, managing only forced, obsequious smiles. "How could we possibly let Miss Windsor pay? We're just having a class reunion. Would you care to join us?" As he spoke, he turned and ordered the nearby waiter to clear the room and serve fresh dishes. My daughter leaned close to my clothes, sniffing carefully, then frowned. "Mommy, Daddy drank a lot of alcohol after being reborn. Serafina and I went our separate ways, and I started my own business. Within 2 years, my company became a leader in its industry. But this involved numerous drinking events, which eventually led to stomach problems. At a bidding conference, my clever proposal and clear thinking caught the attention of Elder Windsor, Arthur Windsor. After collaborating for some time, the old man insisted I become his son-in-law. On our first date, I intended to let things flow naturally, but unexpectedly, Victoria took an immediate liking to me, and I had a good impression of her too. We fell in love quickly. Initially, I worried she might be a spoiled princess, but she turned out to be incredibly independent, practically the ideal wife and mother. She taught me what a healthy, happy marriage truly is. Victoria was incredibly sharp-witted. Seeing my alcohol-splattered clothes, her brow furrowed slightly in anger. But she still asked softly, "Hubby, who did this to you? You promised me you wouldn't drink, you wouldn't break your promise." Before I could answer, Julian was already sweating profusely, fear written all over his face. He forced himself to appear calm, repeating, "Ms. Windsor, a misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. Old classmates were just too happy to see each other. Things got a little out of hand." Victoria clearly didn't believe him. Seeing I was reluctant to speak, she instructed the bodyguards beside her. "Retrieve the surveillance footage for this suite. I want to see who dared to bully my man." "No need, honey. The manager already sent the footage over." Simultaneously, I handed her the hotel acquisition contract. "I wanted to surprise you. This hotel serves your favorite grilled lamb. I bought it for you." Victoria gasped, covering her mouth, then hugged me, moved. "Thank you, hubby. I love it so much. Didn't the owner refuse to sell at any price? How did you manage it?" I smiled. "I gave up a piece of land in the south side. They were more than happy with the deal." A classmate gasped. "Isn't land in the south side worth its weight in gold? Trading it for a hotel is clearly a losing deal. And I heard most of it is owned by someone named Mr. Clark. How could he have it?" "Wait, Mr. Clark. Sincere Clark, could that mysterious figure be him?" Julian swallowed nervously again and again, his lips trembling so much he forgot how to speak. Serafina stared at me in utter disbelief. "Being a freeloader was already punching above your weight. How could you possibly be this rich?" Actually, River City's richest person had changed the previous year. When Serafina abandoned me at the registry office door, I barely had time for heartbreak. Instead, I silently used all my savings to continuously buy up land in the south side. Last year, the south side was a poor slum. Now, thanks to the rich mineral deposits discovered beneath it, it had become the hottest property in all of River City. I declined all media interviews, so virtually no one knew I was that mysterious figure. After watching the surveillance video, Victoria's face lost all trace of a smile. "Mr. Vance, since you look down on my husband so much, it seems our cooperation is no longer necessary. Not just mine, but all of the Windsor family businesses will terminate their partnerships with you." Julian's face turned deathly pale. He tried to argue. "Ms. Windsor, I just wasn't thinking straight for a moment. I honestly didn't know he was your husband. And look at my face, he assaulted me. I apologize to Sincere. How about we just let this matter drop?" As Julian spoke, he started pouring liquor and gulping it down. He downed 3 glasses, and no one told him to stop. The 90-proof alcohol quickly made him vomit violently before he passed out. The other classmates were terrified, crowding around him to rush him to the hospital. Serafina looked at me with hatred. "Sincere Clark, are you satisfied now? So what if we tried to make you drink a little alcohol? What's the big deal? Who were you trying to impress back then? Pretending money meant nothing to you. Aren't you just throwing your weight around now because you're rich? And I thought I owed you something. Turns out you just found yourself a sugar mama right away, seeing me offer you money. And a date today. You must have felt incredibly smug, didn't you? In our last life, did you secretly despise me? Did you deliberately refuse to get ahead, just to force me to leave you and be the bad guy? Sincere Clark, you despicable creep." Serafina's outburst nearly shattered my worldview. She was the one who cheated. She was the one who wanted to climb the social ladder. Just because my life didn't turn out as miserably as she'd imagined, she started shifting all the blame onto me. But I wasn't wrong. Serafina's failure lay in gazing at the stars while forgetting to keep her feet on the ground. We were both reborn. The chances heaven gave us were equal. Both of us were living better lives than in our previous existence. Yet she remained unsatisfied, her ambition exceeding her grasp. I wanted to say something, but seeing the hatred in Serafina's eyes as she looked at me, I swallowed my words again. I spoke calmly. "Think whatever you want. Out of respect for our past, let me give you one more piece of advice. Be careful of Julian Vance." With that, I had done all I could. I left the hotel with my wife and daughter, ignoring the hysterical screaming from Serafina behind me. Today was my wedding anniversary with Victoria. Our daughter had already been sent home with the butler, leaving just the two of us. I passed the cut steak to Victoria. As I tried to retract my hand, she caught it. She produced an exquisite box containing a very expensive watch. I was hoping my anniversary gift would outdo yours this time, but it seems I failed again. This watch is nowhere near as valuable as the Southside land. You lost out. I gently squeezed her hand in mine.
As long as it makes you happy, any price is worth it.
The value of the gift isn't important, it's the thought that counts. Victoria blushed slightly, but couldn't resist asking about the events of the day. I didn't plan to hide anything. Previously, I thought the idea of rebirth was too fantastical, afraid it might scare her. Now felt like the right time. I told her everything about my previous life. Victoria showed no shock, no strangeness. Her eyes simply filled with heartache as she looked at me. In that past life, I wasn't there to remind you to drink less. The stomach bleeding must have hurt terribly. My heart felt as if gently brushed by a feather, turning soft and warm. So this is love, constantly feeling indebted, constantly feeling concern. I tucked a loose strand of hair behind my wife's ear and leaned down to kiss her lips. I smiled. Who says you lost the gift competition this anniversary? You're about to give me the best gift of all. Your father wants a second grandchild. As the younger generation, we should obey, right? My wife playfully tapped my shoulder, then tilted her face up to meet my kiss again. My phone buzzed with a message from my daughter. Daddy, I'm sorry I lost a dare last time and changed the contact 10,086 customer service number in your phone to wifey. Grandpa says I'm a world champion, so you can't kill me. I turned off the screen and sighed helplessly at my wife. Looks like the main account is a bit bugged. Guess we can train up a sub-account too. Just days after the reunion, a post titled River City's Richest Family Bullies Man and Woman suddenly appeared online. The video was short, only showing the part where I punched Julian twice in quick succession. My expression was fierce. I'd used all my strength. 2 punches left Julian's face covered in blood. Not only that, but the video was edited to portray Victoria as an aggressive and domineering spoiled brat, and my daughter as a spoiled show-off. Instantly, my entire family became public enemy number 1. Being rich doesn't give you the right to beat someone to death, as there no law anymore. Demand a thorough investigation. This is so realistic. Business monopolies offend the rich and you're dead. Isn't that little girl the one who just won the world championship? I even told my kids to learn from her. Tui, even emperors are subject to the law. Like commoners, we demand accountability from the authorities. Stop covering up for them. I didn't let the rumors spread further. I quickly uploaded the complete unedited video from that day. Furthermore, I screenshotted some other things. Victoria and I share passwords for our accounts. Half a month ago, I logged into her account to handle something and noticed an IP address frequently sending her suggestive messages. The sender even mentioned being divorced too and suggested raising their daughter and son together. When my wife blocked the account, he just used another one. Around the same time, my daughter also mentioned being harassed by a male classmate during training. I stopped handling it passively, traced his IP address, and had my secretary investigate. The culprit turned out to be Julian Vance. He and his son were clearly trying to steal my wife and daughter. With solid evidence, I posted my clarification and quickly reported it to the police. But Julian had already fled the country and Serafina knew nothing about it. I don't know, he said he had to take our son back to the company for an emergency meeting and asked me to stay behind. The police officer looked grim. Stay behind for what? Don't you know Julian's company has gone bankrupt? He's absconded with all the money, and countless investors domestically and internationally are looking for him. Serafina's eyes were bloodshot with disbelief. Impossible, Julian would never leave me. He's so rich, how could he possibly go bankrupt? It must be sincere Clark ruined us. This is unfair competition. Serafina still refused to believe it. In her eyes, Julian couldn't possibly be bankrupt, and she couldn't possibly be abandoned. Her confidence stemmed from her rebirth. She had lived 20-odd years more than others, But reality was cold. All of Julian's assets in the country were seized. Upon liquidation, it turned out not a single asset was registered under Serafina's name. Watching her completely break down at the police station, I felt only a faint pang of melancholy. Not pity for her, just a sigh at the turn of events. Serafina called me repeatedly, demanding to meet. I refused. It was over. I now had a beautiful wife and a lovely daughter. There was no need for further entanglement with her. I worked late into the night. As I went downstairs, ready to head home, I saw Serafina squatting on the ground. Hearing the movement, Serafina immediately ran up to me. "Sincere, why are you working so late? Remember to rest, no matter how busy you are." I watched Serafina warily, keeping my distance. "What are you doing here?" Serafina's eyes lit up and she moved closer. "Picking you up from work, of course. Didn't you always envy other guys whose girlfriends could pick them up? Well, now I'm here." I frowned, stopping Serafina's persistent advance. "Serafina, stop this madness. I have a wife and child now. There's no possibility between us anymore." Hearing this, Serafina became completely agitated. "Didn't you say you wouldn't marry anyone but me? Who are those two women?" "Sincere Clark, you heartbreaker," I found it laughable. "In front of everyone, you took Julian Vance's hand and walked into the registry office. You got married. Am I not allowed to marry someone else? Don't forget, you were the one who cheated, slap." The moment the words left my mouth, Serafina slapped me hard across the face. "I cheated because you weren't ambitious enough. You were so much better than Julian in university. How could you decline so much after graduation? Or were you just playing me all along? Did you enjoy watching me struggle through hardship with you? Sincere Clark, everything that's happened to me now is all your fault." In just a few sentences, she shifted all the blame onto me. In my past life, I was already starting my business. I firmly believe that given a few more years, I would have been just as successful as I am now, if not more so. But she wasn't willing to give me the chance. And now, I wouldn't give her one either. I forced myself to calm down. It wasn't worth becoming hideous over someone like her. Think whatever you want at this point. But there is absolutely zero possibility between us. Don't come here again. I don't want my wife to misunderstand. I took a few steps forward, but Serafina stubbornly grabbed my sleeve. "Sincere, don't go. Fine, I forgive you for being heartless, all right? I know Victoria Windsor is just your second choice. I'm the one you truly love. Divorce her. If you can't bear to part with a daughter, I can begrudgingly treat her as my own." My temples throbbed. I pulled her hand away, ready to drive off, when I saw Victoria standing not far away. Serafina was overjoyed. Taking advantage of my stunned pause, she clung tightly to my waist. She provoked Victoria, see? Sincere still loves me the most. I quickly explained, "The person I love most is you." Victoria chuckled, amused. As she walked closer, I saw she was holding an umbrella. The forecast said rain tonight. "Even though you have a driver, I still wanted to come get you." I used force, and Serafina stumbled and fell to the ground. She cried out in pain, looking at me incredulously. "You actually pushed me for her, crazy woman," I muttered softly, pulling my wife behind me, unwilling to engage with her further. Watching my resolute back, Serafina seemed to finally understand that there truly was no chance for us anymore. Tears streamed down her face. The sky rumbled boom and a light rain began to fall. Victoria and I walked forward under the umbrella. Serafina stood in the rain, letting it soak her completely. Suddenly she screamed, "Sincere Clark, if you take one more step forward, I'll die right here." My footsteps paused. Behind me, Serafina had produced a gleaming fruit knife and held it to her neck. "Choose me or her. Choose me, you divorce her and marry me. Choose her and I die." As if to prove her words, a trickle of blood appeared on her neck. She was stubbornly threatening me with her life. Under her burning gaze, I tightened my arm around my wife's waist in my embrace and strode firmly into the rain. Victoria looked at me, shocked. "You..." Behind us erupted sharp cries and curses. "Sincere Clark, you bastard, Serafina didn't kill herself. She collapsed in the rain, sobbing heartbrokenly. I knew her too well. She was an exquisite egoist. No one mattered more to her than herself. After that night, Serafina seemed to vanish from the face of the earth. No one knew where she went. I wasn't surprised. I focused on living my own life well. It wasn't until 3 years later that news arrived she had personally killed Julian Vance abroad. Then, she surfaced again in my thoughts. Julian had been dismembered, his body parts flushed down the drain. After turning herself in, she committed suicide on her first day in prison. At that time, I was vacationing by the sea with my wife and 2 children. An old friend sent a message. Her parents brought her body back. "Want to go pay your respects?" I declined. From the moment we were reborn, we had each started new lives. End of text.